Franklin, just under 2 minutes before we send our first runner. So I think 2 minutes. 2 minutes for you and I to get wrapped up. Roll it. Sleeves up for under for women's monobob. We've watched ties already, and we have 2 forerunners. We'll get ready to send these forerunners momentarily. In the meantime, stay warm, walk around, enjoy the crisp air here at Mount Hoevenberg. It's the International Bobsleigh Skeleton Federation second run women's monobob. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Left.
Track is clear.
Nice forerunners.
We're not giving any for downtime. You guys are just getting back to runs in, testing the time you put better than the ice scores here for number 2 of our exciting women's monobob competition.
Minute 59,94.
four-heat competition here at Hoevenberg. Wings picked up again. There's Chris. Track is in phenomenal shape. It'll be reversed forward by Rank, so your fastest sleds will be final sleds. So run number 2 will be your leader after run number 1, Kate Schulhoff from the United States of America. 21 sleds in the field, for less than 5 minutes from the first competitive sled.
And Carl, this gets me so excited. The shocker of this shiny eyes ready to go, looking for potential track record in heat number 2.
Day one of bobsleigh action from Lake Placid in the 2025 IBSF Bobsleigh and Skeleton World Championships. Welcome back to Mount Van Hoevenberg as we get ready for the second heat on day one of the women's monobob competition. 21 sleds from 15 different nations, some of them far removed from your traditional winter sport venues. And after the first of our 3 heats, we have a really entertaining lead group. The wild dark horse is Kristen Bujnowski, former double bronze medal World Championship winning great woman, and she is now driving up a storm in the front seat of the monobob. She's been a dominant force in North American racing and now is bringing that to Lake Placid. The double world champion Lara Nolter is lying in second position after the first heat. She is just 200s ahead of Bujnowski. Lara Nolter, the winner in Winterberg last year and in Samarit in 2023. But our race is being led by hometown queen Keisha Love. She's been twice a winner last season and this in monobob in World Cup races, and now she has taken a slender lead in the first of 4 heats of the World Championships on home ice. So 1500s in front. It's not a massive margin, and Riley T-Jack, it's a really tight battle behind. Look, 1900s covering 5 sleds with a dead heat between Catty Bile and Alana Myers-Taylor. And those who are a little further back, down maybe to Bree Walker in 11th place, still have a shout at the medals, because nobody's going to be clean on all 4 runs.
You can't count anyone out in Lake Placid. Lake Placid, as we've seen through this first heat, there is 20 different corners and there is a lot of places to go wrong. Especially when we're talking about 4 heats, the name of the game is consistency.
It absolutely is. And some surprises there. The Bouge, for those of us who haven't seen her racing in the World Cup since she was on the back of the sled, has certainly become a sensational driver. In her last 16 races, she has taken 15 medals. So those were in Europe Cup and in North Americas. So she has qualified herself for the 3rd sled. Cynthia Appiah there, her teammate, and Melissa Lottholtz, both trying to catch her up. So there's a lot going on. And some unusual names towards the top of the field as well. Catty Bile tied for 4th with Alana Myers-Taylor. What a sensational first run she had. Lisa Buchwitz ahead of Cynthia Appiah. And Margot Bock-France as well, firmly in the top 8. And Margot had a really clean run. And then we've got some other nations like Thailand and Spain and Chinese Taipei who have not got massive bobsledding tradition. And the first off will be Jamaica's youngster Adana Johnson, Johnson with a race tally that is literally in single figures. So we're looking at a vastly experienced and hugely successful and Olympic champions and raw rookies. It's a fantastically diverse field.
What I will say is today is International Women's Day, and what a great day to celebrate the first 2 heats of the World Championships with athletes from all around the world doing amazing things. And to kick us off in their second heat is Adana Johnson.
Yeah, Dana Johnson, just 17 years old. She has had just 2 race weekends here. One in NAC, where she drove mono and women's bob, and one as one of the Youth Olympic qualifiers back in 2023. So just 8 races in monobob in her career.
Incredible. And as we see here, she is 17 years old. Most of us have not started the sport until we were 22 or older, and to see her do this at such a young age and having so much fun and success is truly incredible.
Well, it would be, you know, one thing if she grew up at a bobsleigh track, but those are fairly few and far between in Jamaica.
They are, and as we see in Cool Runnings, we are pulling them out of their track environment and bringing them to the cold, but she's handling it extremely well, and so far having a good second run right here.
Well, the other thing about Cool Runnings in Jamaica is that almost nobody in Jamaica has seen it. It's not a thing. John Morgan will be heartbroken. He played himself in the film. 122 kilometers an hour. So this is her second run down the track. This is literally her 3rd ever race weekend here in Lake Placid. And as a 17-year-old, you know, wide-eyed rookie, that was a nice looking run.
That was awesome. You know what you just saw her do right there? Beat her time from heat 1. And that's what you want to see. As a pilot, anytime you can come down, you can make less mistakes and have a faster downtime, that's success right there.
I just imagine how tight and tense and nervous and all sorts of turmoil in her head in the first heat. She's got that out of the way. She didn't crash. She didn't, you know, make a fool of herself, which is probably what you're terrified of for your first time. Exactly the opposite. She had a nice run down, and yeah, you know, again, at this stage, we talked about this on air in the first heat, you judge yourself not against the Olympic champion, you judge yourself against you and beating your last run, and that's exactly what she did.
Well, incredible job, Adana. We are so proud of you. We're excited to see what you got tomorrow. Now we're back with Agnes Campiol and Martin. Something fun fact that most people may not know about this young slider. There is an IBSF mentorship program, and Kaylee Humphreys, who she's racing against, is her mentor.
Yeah. Well, Agnese with dual nationality, Italian and Thai. Can you imagine the turmoil in the family if she gets to go to the games next year in Italy? They'll be desperately trying to get there as well.
And outbeat her start.
Yeah.
Great job. 6:44 here, so did much better. That's what you want to see here. How can you make little improvements from run to run?
I know there's another Jamaican bobsled driver tuned in, so hi to Mika Moore.
Great run so far. She's keeping that lead ahead from Adana, right? That's what you want to see. How do you compare to some of the people that came up at the same time driving as you?
Exactly right. And again, from as unlikely a source for a winter sport athlete as you can imagine. Great chicane. That's really going to help accelerate her away. She was 900s ahead of Adana Johnson after the first heat, but it's come back down to 500s, having a skid down here through 19 and 20. Is she dropping behind? 300s back. So there's Adana Johnson.
What a race between those two.
And again, what she, you know, leader's box. She doesn't know what to do in a leader's box. Never heard of such a...
Well, now she does.
Go and stand over there and watch the TV. Why? Because I'm telling you to.
And it's hard to clap when someone that you're friends with maybe doesn't do as good as you want.
Exactly.
But as we see here, Agnes overall, she's still learning, but we see a couple crucial mistakes, a couple skids here, hitting the wall there. That's just slowing you down. So when we're talking 500ths of a second, here's where she's losing some of that time. Through the chicane, though, really nice. Didn't hit any of the walls. Some of our top sliders aren't even doing this. Yeah. So great job, and let's see what the two of them can battle it out for tomorrow.
100%. Really looking forward to it. Youth Olympic silver medalist, Agnese Campiol of Thailand. So now our third sled, and again a new name for most of our TV audience, and this is representing Spain, Liana Garcia. Now she started in the Canadian program, and her former teammates are helping out and cheering on at the top.
Shout out to Leah and Erica Voss helping her out there. But Martin, I will tell you, Liana is the first woman to qualify for a World Champs in Spain and the first athlete to podium in a Europa Cup race this season. So she is making history, doing great things, and overall so far having a great run.
Nice smooth stuff. This is such a tough track to drive. You really have to have experience here to get the best out of it.
You do, and she's had experience as a brake one, so she knows what the track may feel like. But when you're in that front seat and you're seeing things come at you differently, it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, brakemen aren't allowed to watch.
If you are, you're doing something wrong.
6100s up. She was 3900s up from the start. She's building that advantage. She's going to lose a little after a slightly sketchy chicane, third best speed. It's still going to be a decent advantage.
So what you might have seen just there is a hit between 19 and 20. And why that matters so much is this is the uphill section of the race. So all tracks, naturally, you're going down a mountain and you're gaining speed. But at some point, the track naturally always comes up. And if you hit there, it is a speed killer towards the end.
1800s over Liana Garcia had over Adana Johnson from the first heat. She's added 4 tenths to that in this second heat.
Much better run. I think she's going to be a lot happier with it. Again, as she's learning how to drive and she's making history for Spain, I can only imagine the amount of pressure she feels. But she should be proud of beating her own time on Heat 1 and making improvements. Big smile there. Thumbs up was much better than the thumbs down on the last one.
I know that Anda Mirambel, the head of the Spanish Federation, will be very, very supportive of Liana. So now for Chinese Taipei, Lin Xin Rong, another young driver who has learned her trade on the tracks here in North America. And again, with a race tally that is in real handfuls in monobob. Started as a youth in luge, which is the feet first suicide T-trays. Skeleton, of course, the head first suicide T-trays. We'll see them on ice this evening in the team race.
And not only that, Martin, Sinrong has also, was in the Olympics in 2022 for the sport of luge. So she knows what high-level competition looks like and is excited to try to do it in another sport. Just 4 years, I can't imagine going from luge straight into bobsled, both Olympics, but she's doing it, she's doing it well. Really nice right there from 3 to 4. Again, that's a critical part of the track. Now entering the Devil's Highway, 5, 6, 7, trying to build up that speed as she enters the middle of the track.
Yeah, second best speed. She's got a half-second advantage and holding on to that.
But only third best speed, and you'll see this, you know, this oftentimes has to deal with how the athletes started.
And how much they're having to steer to keep the sled on track.
Little hits and chicane, that's not going to hurt her too much. 17-18 transition, very nice, but is losing her lead compared to the other girls.
Yeah. She'll still have clear air between herself and Liana Garcia of Spain. Quarter of a second up, 1:01.11. But again, quarter of a second is one sketchy run through the chicane, and you're suddenly back together.
Absolutely, and you see the number 2 there. That shows that she is not in second place, but for that heat, she was in second, which means Liana did beat her on that heat alone. However, that deficit was so large, she was able to cut it, but she's still in the leader's box right now. This is that 8-9 transition, and as you can see, that pilot's head whipping from one into another, which is why, shout out to my chiropractor for helping me whenever we slide in Lake Placid. It is known sometimes, often called as the baby shaker.
Yeah.
But yep, she's nice and happy about that. Big smiles. Day 1 seems to be a good success for her.
Patricia Tagnerova now from the Czech Republic. 16th fastest start, 17th at the bottom after the first run. Coach Dominik Dvorak in the background.
And Patricia here, Martin, is one of our younger athletes as well. She's only 22 years of age. In this past Hoevenberg race, she was the 2nd junior champion for under 23. She got 2nd place, which is amazing. But one of those athletes that is still trying to learn and get a good feel for this track.
And again, she will have grown up on those European circuits, so she knows those tracks better. But coming over here to North America, very different. And the parallel here really is with Altenberg. You have to drive it. It punishes mistakes physically as well as with time. So I think she won't feel necessarily like it's something she's never come across before. But you still got to learn this place.
And so far, starting out, she had a 6:06 start, which is beating her 6:14 start. Can she beat her downtime in this run? That's really what we're looking for here. Really nice, and that 12:13. Oh, very good. She's having a really good run, much better. Second fastest speed, though.
Yep.
Can she hang on to that lead that she has?
She's starting to open the lead back up. It had shrunk a little down to 1200s. Look at it now. She's tripling her advantage over Lin of Korea.
Wow, much better run, Martin. She went over half a second faster. That is an athlete that may have had a little bit of jitters, but is coachable. She's learning from heat to heat, run to run. That's what we want to see out of these athletes. Can I make a mistake and can I not make it again?
Well, my first thought when she went from 6:14 to 6:06 is that's a much less nervous start.
Yeah.
You know, it's your first time in the World Championships. It's just a big name, isn't it?
It is. It is. And standing up there, you're the only one representing your country. You're as young as she is, right?
Camera in your face, all of that, yeah. It's quite off-putting because normally when you're racing in North America's Cup or Europe Cup, tumbleweed.
Yeah, I've been there.
No fans, no noise, no cameras, no lights.
And it's all here. But look at that smile. I think she feels so much more relaxed.
Yeah.
She seems so much more comfortable. And I think now she feels settled going into tomorrow as well.
All right, 5 down in our field of 21. We get now to one of our regular World Cup racers, Adele Nicol from Great Britain. Started 15th fastest. She's still not got her speed back after injuring her foot. 6:02 is better, but she needs to find the drive down the track.
I tell you what, Adele is one heck of a tough athlete. Not only has she battled injury after injury, but she's also the shot put Commonwealth finalist.
Yep.
She just does it all.
Yeah, finished her winter season, went straight to the Commonwealth Games. She's the Welsh national title holder multiple times.
What can't some of these women do?
I know.
Truly, they inspire me all the time.
6th best speed, but extending her advantage over Tanya Rova.
Looks like a much better run for her here. Look at that chicane. That is beautiful. You see those runner tips nice and straight, not letting any of those two little kinks bother her at all. Very nice 18-19 transition. Oh, she's going to gain a lot of speed and advantage on her time on this run.
This is what she wanted in the first heat, 60.47. So actually 100th quicker than Tanya Rova on that run.
But over a 10th better in the downtime.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what we want to see. The starts, the downtimes just getting better and better. Let the athletes feel like they did make the adjustments. And that's what we want to see. What is your best? What can you do? What can you put down? Where she's still struggling there out of 2. That's why you see it's an uneven hit. 2 is a really tricky corner. It wants to give you late height. So you have to manipulate that height early and come off, because if you're still up there, especially this monobob, you're going to have a massive skid and it's going to kill you at the top.
Silver medalist in the World Cup race here in March last year. So she knows the speed can come. She looks a little happier as Lake Placid, one of her brake women, helps with the sled.
And we could not do it without those brake women. If you see the mono, you could not do it by your own. So shout out to all the brakemen and helping us get that done.
I was chatting to the Canadian girls who are in training, and they're saying, yeah, we need to get back down here. And I said, no, they're driving on their own. Let them sort it out themselves.
No.
Right, here we go with Kim Yoran of Korea, back on the world stage after a few seasons away.
A little bit of a slower starter here, 100th behind the start time from Heat 1. But as long as you're within 2 to 300s, no one can be too mad about that at the start.
Yeah. Long skid from 2 to 3. We saw that from Adele Nicol as well.
As she enters the highway, this is where she wants to be very clean, but she already is behind, but we know that because of her start. Her goal here is try to outdrive what she was pushing, but some mistakes at the top can make that just a little bit more difficult. But fastest speed right now.
Yeah, 3400s back, but she is starting to close the margin on Adele Nicol of Great Britain. Kim Yoran.
Oh, that's going to hurt her.
Yeah, had the best speed into the chicane, but those
I think
taps,
Adele will get her.
Yeah, and getting sideways. Gap still coming down a little. She's survived well then in that case. Does she get close? She does get close. Not enough.
That's a spot for Adele that you can see in the leaders box. She is smiling and happy. And anyone who's not used to these sports, we're going from the slowest to the fastest. So anytime that you can beat the person in front of you, that means you're moving up one spot. Yeah. And that's never a bad thing for anybody. I guess unless you're the one in the sled.
Yeah, hanging out in the leaders box, even if it's cold and windy, means that things are going your way. And that's the run down, looking down to the chicane.
And that's what you can see on that angle exactly. You can see that little cutout and how hard it is that you have to shoot this. And as you're driving, Martin, a lot of times you don't even know you're about to hit, and then it's too late. As a driver, you don't want to overreact because you're going in a straightaway. Yeah. If you're steering during that time, it's going to mess you up more. So you almost just have to take that hit and hope it's not going to be as bad as it could be.
All right, now then, 7 sleds in, and we get to our first from Germany. This is Kim Kalicki, 12th fastest at the start, 14th at the bottom. And this is definitely not Kalicki's discipline, but wait until next weekend when we're in women's bobsleigh, and then that will be a whole different mix. With Leonie Fiebig behind her, she'll get a lightning start and be right in the mix. But on her own, she doesn't have the speed at the start. Doesn't stop her being able to drive. There's a big deficit to make up, 6:04.
Just 100th off her start from the first heat. Again, not bad. That's what we want to see. I do think, though, Kim is going to want to move up several spots in that leader's box and try to put down a better run than she did in heat 1.
Well, 3800s ahead of Adele Nicol, comes back to 3400s in front, but better speed than anybody so far from the German.
And this is one of those tight groupings between her and the two people ahead of her. Is just separated by 0.06 of a second.
Yeah. And they're all using identical sleds. The sleds are all built by a high-tech company in Bavaria in Germany called Ixent. You can use your own runners. They're the same runners as on a 2-seat sled, but the sleds are all exactly the same for our athletes.
And that's because the sport of monobob is very new for the women. It was just first introduced in the Olympics in this past 2022 Olympic Games.
Okay, 59.91, the first sub-1 minute run down in this second heat. And that's, again, 2 3/10s, 2900s faster than her first run. So the track is speeding up. How far away from the track record were we? 59.50 to 59.22?
Well,
maybe not today.
Not today, but I will tell you in training for all of those who's looking at Luge, the Canadian slider sitting in third right now, she would have broken the track record in training. That's how fast this track was on Monday. It has the potential. Wednesday in training got a little crazy, but it's possible.
Monday was fast, Wednesday was somewhere different, and then here we are, Friday, Saturday, whatever day of the week it is this week, we're back at it. All right, so first of our German sleds down. Now the first of our Canadian sleds. This is Melissa Lottholz. 8th fastest start, 5.95 seconds, and came down just, as you said, 200s ahead of Kalicki. So, I mean, effectively these 3 sleds in a dead heat.
Let's see what her start is, a 5.91. Her first one was a 5.95, so 400s faster. She was definitely putting some effort and emphasis into that up there.
And because it's such tiny margin, she started 1300s quicker than Kalicki on this run, so that first heat advantage now out to 15, now out to 1600s, and more speed from the start. Shows on the clock, still quickest.
And every 100th of a second counts. They say in bobsled, 100th at the top is 300ths at the bottom, but in Lake Placid, it might be almost 4, just because of how long it is. If you can keep that speed, it will multiply and carry forward, which is really what we're seeing here with Melissa.
And if you can't, it'll be 100th ahead at the top and 1200s back further down, and 2000s or 3000s. Yeah, it's got so many trip hazards, this track. 900s, the gap is coming right down into single digits.
It's going to be close at the finish.
Really is. Germans don't have a material advantage, but Kim Kalicki had the lines. 59.95 run for Mel, so 400 slower than Kalicki, and she loses by 2 because she was 2 up front.
Yep. Oh man, this is what's so great about this being a 4-heat race, though, Martin.
Yeah.
Kim got her, then Melissa got her, and we're going to see what they have tomorrow.
Well, look at the low heel return there from Mel. And that's absolutely classic brakewoman push action on the back handles. And our athletes who have come from being push athletes before, they have that physical advantage, but they also have that advantage in technique as well.
And that is something that you will see here. Anyone that was a brakewoman first is very used to hitting the sled. There's several ways you can hit the mono bobsled.
Yeah.
And we'll see that amongst our athletes, but most of them replicate what the brakemen look like in a 2-woman or 2-man.
Dip and rip. Fall forward into the sled, and when you're nearly hitting your chin, that's when you drive off the block. So let's take a look at Deborah Annen from Switzerland.
She's just 22 years old still.
First full World Cup season this year. She made a couple of appearances last year. She's been very impressive. She's cool, calm, collected, and she can drive as well as start a sled. 6:04 first heat, 6 flat in the second.
That's what we want to see out of these athletes. Again, beat what you did the last time. You versus you versus the clock. Very nice 1-2. That's one of the best 1-2 transitions that we've seen so far.
She's quite a tall athlete. She sits a long way back, and that gives you a great chance to see her hands working because they're sort of visible below the cowl a lot of the time.
And when you're driving the mono, you actually, as a pilot, want to sit a little bit further back to keep that weight in the back of the sled.
Because you don't have a buddy in there to keep the back under control.
The brakemen call it Lonely Bob.
Yeah.
But we know that, ooh, little skid, no. We'll
1800's up, but second best speed is going to evaporate. It's going to be close with Kalicki.
How close can it be? We might see a dead heat, or it's going to be just a couple hundreds right here for them.
Oh,
7
hundredths. She was 100th quicker than Kalicki, so she extends her advantage from 6 to 700. You saw her brakewoman there, Mara Morell. So Mara will be in the women's race with her next weekend.
And shout out to Melanie Hassler. We know that you wish you could be here more than anything. We know you're listening, and we hope that you get better.
And to Nadia Pasternak as well, who was hoping to be here. She's at home with baby Noelle, and hopefully she'll recover well for next season.
Both incredible women, some of my favorite people to compete against.
So Deborah Annen has the lead by 700 from Kim Kalicki, despite this moment in the chicane. That back bank tap sent her into the wall, and that fired her across the track.
And you can see there when you zoom in at some points your runners aren't even on the ice, which gives you kind of this, you're airborne almost, which means you're not going where you want to.
Well, it just exaggerates any skid as the sled gets light. Deborah Annen leads from Kim Kalicki. We have 11 sleds to go. And first of those, and a little disappointed, I'm sure, to be down in 11th, is Brianna Walker, the winner on this track last year. So she was the last woman to win an international top-tier race in Lake Placid, and she's won the last 2 World Cup encounters as well.
600ths of a better start for her. I know that she is not happy with where she is right now. I think she just was like, you know what, I'm over it. I'm going to send it, and send it she did.
Taking herself off into a corner and giving herself a very good talking to. Yeah, but that's what you have to do. You know, you have to get your head into it. Okay, right. Everything to gain, nothing to lose.
Absolutely, and she's having a much better run here.
But the gap is coming down. It was 2/10. It's going to be nearly single digits here. Deborah Annen had a bad chicane. All right, so
nice
here we go.
chicane for her. That should help her. Her speed's back to #1.
Yep.
She should have at least a 2/10 advantage. Yep, there it is. We'll continue to see that rise up and see if she can take a couple spots. I know she will not be satisfied with where she is after this day of racing. 3/10 in the bag. But she wants to remain in striking distance from that top 10.
Yeah, 59.74 was that is the 5th fastest run down so far. Not in this heat, but in total. So only 4 sleds in heat 1 went quicker. Track does seem to be running a little There's the wind has dropped, the sun is out. So the air is drier. It's not as frosty and sticky on the ice.
Which does help.
Yeah.
We did see Bree Walker so far has had the top speed at 123.4 kilometers per hour. It might not seem fast to people at home, but you are booking it when you have these tight transitions that exist in Lake Placid.
Well, 76.7 miles an hour. Do that on an icy highway and see just how long you think it's not really quick. All right, next up for Romania, Andreea Grecu. 6th fastest start, disappointing run, only 10th place off that. Andrea has had a season where she's looked more unsure of what's happened than any I can remember. Teodora Vlad behind her, her brakewoman. She'll be in the race next week.
And her other brakewoman, Alex Klein's going to have to get the bottom here to catch her. She has a good team behind her, a 5:88 getaway, much faster, 300s. She's going to be happy with that. Really nice 1-2, but a little bit of a tap there that's going to kill her speed. Oh, the hit before 4.
And this is how her season has gone. You know, in previous years, she's been a World Cup medalist. She's been a European Championship medalist. This year, she's been lost at sea, and I don't know why, and nor does she.
It's really tough when you're used to winning and having great results, and sometimes you just can't find it. But if any time to find it, World Champs is the place.
If she can't find it now, then next year is going to need some focus. Great shoot through the chicane, but 200's back and only the 6th best speed. She's not going to find it here, so she's going to drop back behind Brianna Walker.
But how much is the question? In that heat, that was the 5th fastest heat, so coach is not looking very happy about that. But all that means is that she now knows she can sleep, she can recover, and figure it out for tomorrow. Yeah,
Julian Pacianu, the coach, absolutely livid with that. And this is what we've seen of Andrea so often, that head down, what happened there?
Oh, and there's Georgetta helping her out there.
Georgetta is there. Georgetta, the youth Olympic champion in monobob.
So we can see some of these mistakes here. When she's hitting, she's not getting that double bunk hit, which puts her across, and then it's another non-double bunk hit. And all you're doing as a pilot is just trying to pull those D-rings back to minimize that result. But in the chicane, where most people are getting that, she's straight and she's on. She has a capability. She's a phenomenal driver. I just want to see her piece it all together for one run.
Yeah, one good run is all it takes just to give you your confidence back. Now then, Kaylee Humphries, well, she's had a good run or two in her career. Multiple women's bobsleigh Olympic champion and now monobob Olympic champion as well. Took last year off to have a baby, and she's not got the speed at the start that she will have next season. Her training regimen is legendary, so she will come back as strong as ever next year. 6:03 getaway. It's by far not the slowest in the competition.
No, but boy, oh boy, can she drive. She's one of the best drivers to ever do it, an absolute GOAT and legend in this sport. You can never count this woman out, and especially in two-woman when she gets help from some of the fast USA brakemen, game on.
Yeah, 100%. And she just has so much experience, so much knowledge of these tracks. Recently sliding for the USA, of course, for many years as a Canadian, but still always racing on these tracks in your development phase and through your World Cup phase as well. 5th best speed, though. The gap is coming back down.
So much experience, but can she find it? It's going to be a close one here.
Wow. Dropping behind Bree Walker. They're level now. Behind the line by 600s. 59.87 run.
Big smile from Bree, not so much the USA coaches. It is a close race. 600ths of a second is absolutely nothing.
Yeah. I know Kaylee's mum and dad are here, so they're looking after baby Alden.
And her husband, Travis, who has been an incredible resource for her all season. So many photos of them watching Kaylee on TV with baby Alden just cheering on. Absolutely incredible.
So cool. Meeting a whole bunch of new babies here in Lake Placid.
It's incredible for the women athletes, especially the amount of athletes that have been able to be moms and just absolutely come back and dominate. For me as a woman, is extremely inspiring.
Yeah, absolutely right. And it just means that for anybody else in the field, that the decision to start a family does not mean the end of an athletic career. All right, one more day to go in the World Championships. Possibly her last ever World Championships. I don't know, possibly. I think likely so. But anyway, let's move on to France's Margot Bockin. We were just being shown by Ken Childs a picture of Margot when she was sort of 14, 15, sitting down and having a photo taken with Kaylee Humphries and Melissa Lotholtz. And here she is, racing and ahead of both of them. I mean, what a thing.
How special. But that goes to show about this community. We are so welcoming. We want young people to come in. To be honest, some of these athletes that have been in the sport for so long, it's almost like, come and beat me.
Yes.
Right?
Competition wanted, it should say on some of the sleds.
And I know we were talking about that earlier with Friedrich. Friedrich wins all the time,
yeah.
But he gets so excited when people are close to him.
Listen, in human life, our job is to train our successors, whether it's your children or replacing you in jobs and whatever. That's what it's all about. Hand that knowledge on, pass the baton on. And yeah,
what
nice
a run she's having.
Only the 7th best speed, but she's still holding her advantage over Brianna Walker. Not enough though. And Kaylee's only 600s back. I think she's going to drop 2 spots here at the line. How far back? 1200s back. So she does. But again, 1200s covering. Margot Bock, Brianna Walker, Kaylee Humphries in the middle of that sandwich.
Again,
that
is nothing.
That's effectively a dead heat.
And
you know, you're going to make up half of that or lose half of that with a slightly different start time.
And especially the different conditions tomorrow even. Yep. We'll see that. So this is a great race. This is one of Margot's better races. For anyone who's watching, sometimes as a bobsledder you might get frustrated. Why is my speeds not matching my lines? Because I'm looking here right now in 12 to 13. Pretty good. She had a pretty good run. I can't pick out too many areas where she made mistakes. Here on the chicane, shot it, was really nice, but she just didn't have that speed. So that's when you go back to the drawing board. Is it my runners? Is it my equipment? Could I have found somewhere at the start? There's so many factors that go into this, but overall, I'm looking at this athlete who struggled a little bit, and she looks happy and excited for what tomorrow has to bring.
Yeah. Okay, top 7 now for Cynthia Peer of Canada. She is not our top Canadian in the lineup so far, but 5th fastest starter, 5.90. And again, you can see from her technique why she was such a good push athlete as well.
5.80 for her. That is a whole 10th faster.
That's
a whole
insane.
10th faster.
That's insane. That is tying the fastest start of the competition. She's now saying to Kristen Brusnowski,
bring it.
I see you, I match you.
She had some of that Canadian maple syrup and she's ready to go.
Look at that top speed as well.
This will really help her with that start.
Whoa, 2600s up at the start, 4800s up now. This is electrifying from Cynthia Peer of Canada.
And what great line she's having right here. I think that she's going to pull ahead and pull ahead a lot. Can she shoot the chicane? Yes,
Gets a good chicane and comes out of it beautifully down into 17. This is going to be a fast run through the heart. Still 4/10 up. She's lost a little. How far in front at the line? 43 hundredths.
Wow. Yeah, big smiles on the coach's face right there. Cynthia's going to be there it is. There it is. And look at those guns. She's one heck of a strong woman.
And the other thing is, you don't actually need the brakes, because tomorrow you might, because the mono is...
she is fired up, getting the crowd into it. She knows she just had a good run, and she knows she might be staying in that leader's box for several more minutes in this call.
Yes, she might. On the left, Justin Cripps, Olympic champion in men's bobsleigh, and on the right, Lyndon Rush, silver medalist here with Jessie Lumsden in the last 2-man worlds back in 2012.
What a great start. I didn't notice this earlier, but she did have a small tap out of 14 before really the chicane, so it didn't mess her up too much, but that did probably take some of the time away.
Let's go.
2 more, let's go. That's right.
That is her medals, I'm coming for you face.
And
genuine.
Booge, go beat that start time.
Yeah, okay, and the rest of you.
Well, and Lisa here.
Yeah. Cynthia threw down. Now, Lisa Bukvits, the World Cup champion, has won more monobob top-tier races this season than anybody else.
Let's see what her push is. 581. Ooh, Cynthia got her. I think she might have something to say to her at the bottom from a friendly competition-wise. A little bit of a skid there.
That's a lot of a skid there.
That will hurt her.
She had 400s over Sin at the start. She's in the red before she gets into the Devil's Highway.
6th fastest speed. It will kill you at the top. Your goal is to provide as much speed at the top as possible with that push and early on in the track. It's just time you can't make up anywhere else.
She's going to be in free fall here if she's not really good. She has turned into quite the driver in mono and in women's bobsleigh in just 3 or 4 seasons.
It's phenomenal. She knows how to win, she knows how to push, and she's still learning the drive.
1500s back. This will see her in second place behind Cynthia Appiah.
Yep. No, Cynthia is fired up. She knows that she had a good run, and everyone after her knows that they have to put something nice down as well.
If only Cynthia just allowed a little bit of emotion to come out occasionally.
She's not passionate at all, truly. She's not excited to be here.
Listen, every single person, every man, woman and child in every team is bleeding for this sport, and the passion just can't help but come out.
It's good to see Lisa with a smile on her face after this run. She came a little bit too much driving there, which put her into that skid. Here, when she hits out of 3, again, for the most part, she minimized the damage, because if anyone watching, that wasn't perfect double bunk, but she was most likely holding those D-rings back and making sure that sled didn't squirrel at all. Great recognition from her as a driver.
And all those tips that she's learned. Don't forget, in 2022 in the Winter Games, she was pushing sleds for medals. And now, 4 years later,
2 more runs.
She is going to be an absolutely red-hot medal contender for the Olympics as a driver. Now then, story of one of many stories of the day, but story of the top half dozen is Kathi Beil of Austria. We always say she drives better than she starts, and today she started so well. 589.
500ths faster than what she did in Heat 1, and she was already extremely impressive. 900ths off of what Cynthia pushed is incredible for Kathi.
So here's the deal. She needs to cook schnitzel for everybody the night before every race, because that's clearly what it is.
She doesn't even have NSYNC playing either.
Powered by schnitzel. Okay, 6th best speed, so a couple of little errors between the start and corner 4-5, and that is bringing the gap down. But now again, look, back to top speed. It's not Kit, it's driver.
It is, and she is driving extremely well here, and she's being rewarded for it. Speed keeps going up, her gap keeps increasing. Shot the chicane, nice 17, 18 right here into 19 in the uphill section. She should have 3/10 minimal in the bag here.
She's going to have the biggest smile on her face as she comes across the line. 59.32.
Wolfie is excited. Look at her. She's like, I don't know what's happening. I don't have words.
She had a horror story of a run, and she's still got a smile on her face as she goes, whoopsie. I mean, this is the Kathi Beil that we know is in there.
This makes my heart so happy, Martin, to see athletes who, you know, she's come an incredible story of getting injured when she was in Peru. And dealing with a stroke and having to come back from it. And now, the year before the games in World Championships, is putting down massive runs, beating top-level athletes, and doing it humble, kind, and with a massive smile on her face.
Listen, she could be in the medals here.
Sending all of her love to Melanie. They are really good friends, and I know it affects all of us, her not being here. But that's what I love to see more than anything, is 2 athletes that are going head-to-head like we talked about. It's not you versus the other person, it's you versus you.
You go, girl.
You want everyone to succeed, because I want to beat you at your best, because then my best is better than your best.
Yep. Well, plus they want everybody to succeed. It's what they do. It's why they love it. Now, Kathi Beil was tied for 4th place with Alana Myers-Taylor, the Olympic silver medalist in Beijing, the World Championship silver medalist last year.
She had a faster start time right here by 200ths of a second. That will help her when you're in a dead heat with someone else.
So she pulled up a start, Kathi Beil pulled up a start, Cynthia pulled up her start.
And Alana has been driving for a very long time. Extremely experienced. The most decorated black athlete in Winter Olympics, is absolutely remarkable and knows how to drive a bobsled.
Well done. You backed away for saying forever. But well done. 3rd best speed. Here we go. She's turning on the taps down the lower reaches of this Lake Placid track.
It's going to be close. Kathi did have a great run. Oh, that's not going to help Alana.
And a big skid actually takes more out of the sled than those taps. So 2nd best speed will become sort of 6th best speed as she comes uphill. 1700s back. She's going to possibly drop behind Cynthia Appiah. No, 200s ahead of Appiah.
And look at Kathi. She can't almost believe it.
I know. This is ridiculous stuff.
Alana, I know, will not be very happy with that, but she is still right there.
But listen, she's been in this for the long game, you know. some days you have a great run, some days you have 2 great runs, sometimes one's a little bit up and down, and yeah, it's what it is.
Well,
go to bed, go to sleep, hug the kids, put them to bed, feed them.
Oh, she had a little bit of trouble getting in there, it looks like, as well. If anyone saw that, her knee looked like it clipped that front a little bit, which just is a little bit of a delay getting in and not putting all your momentum going forward. But then here, this is what really cost her here in the chicane. As you can see, it breaks her sled out into a skid. She hits again, and puts her sled a little bit sideways. That's going to destroy her time, but that means that she can make that up.
100%. And, you know, the start was good. It wasn't a disaster, but it was driving errors that dropped her back behind Katy Bile. 3 to go. What a chance for the Buge. Kristen Bushnovsky to put in something very, very strong here.
585. So Cynthia did get her in this heat, but she is ahead of the driving. So let's see what Buge can put down.
Right, 600s up on Katy Bile as she sat down. Oh, big skid, 2 to 3, and it fishtailed the other way as well.
Yep, that is going to put her back in the red, unfortunately. But she knows how to win, and she knows how to drive this track. And the NAC, she won like every single monobob race. Overall was the monobob winner. Goes to a new track like Altenburg for the first time and wins a gold in an EC.
And every other race she's driven ends here with the second heat, and you've lost it. That doesn't happen here. This is an NAC weekend. You do 2 races in 2 days, except here, it all counts as 1. So it's not over till it's over. If she loses ground here, okay, you've made a mistake, you've paid for it, and it was early on, and then you really pay for it. But she's 4th place with 3 to go. She can do big things from there.
Dropping her back behind Katy, Alana, and Cynthia. But to walk away, she's still sitting in a great place day 1.
Yep.
No worse than 6th place. I would take that.
Yep, 100%.
I know she's not going to be too proud of it, though.
But she knows that first heat was absolutely what she can do, and all she's got to do is bring it back out on day 2.
And for the past 2 years, I have seen her do it, and I know that she can. She has a little bit of a tap there. That's not really what caused her issues. It's right here, coming out of 3. Breaks into that skid going that way, then taps again. Nose going into 4. Not exactly what you want. But the rest of the run was not too bad. It's just so hard to make up time when you lose it at the top.
Well, when she lost it at the top, instead of a 585 start, that was basically a 615 start because it was so much slower by corner 4. But Buge
Great job.
Got what it takes.
Great job.
Now then, this is world champion Lara Nolte, 2-time world champion Lara Nolte. Let's see what she's like. Look how she loads.
588.
Wow.
There's so much that goes into the load behind a mono. Do you jump and not step? You saw Booze, she's really big into stepping and then shooting in.
Yeah.
Shooter's preference.
Yes, it really is. And whatever you do, make sure you're in before the sled runs out of the grooves and it's steering itself. 7th best speed. Is the track starting to turn?
And now she's in the red with speed is still 7. We see her now drop behind Katy Bile.
I want an inset box of what Katy Bile's face looks like
I think
right
I need it
now.
too.
We need that desperately. Wow, what a chicane. Clean enough until the end.
And you see the speed starting to go up to 3rd fastest speed. But
she's still behind.
I don't think it's going to be enough.
1300s. Does she drop behind Alana?
Does Katy move up?
Katy does move
she
up,
does.
and she's 200s ahead of Alana.
Wow.
Katy leads with 1 to go.
Wow, look at Katy. She cannot hardly believe it, and I know Lara Nolte will not be extremely thrilled about dropping back a spot, but still being in top 3, again, you're within striking distance.
She's a fighter. She knows it's not just get in, get down, take the medals. That's not how this happens.
And she is a champion. Her, more than anything, knows how to be consistent, knows how to do 4 heats, and knows how to do it well.
Well, there you go. You're allowed 1 loose one, 2 and you're dead meat, but 1 is survivable in a 4-heat race. We've seen it time and again.
It is, and it's refreshing.
For those of you who can hear effects off mic, okay. It was largely in German, but all right. Katy Bile, Lara Nolte, Alana Myers-Taylor, the top 3. But here is our first heat leader. Winner in Lillehammer, tying with Bree Walker. winner in La Plan last year, her first ever victory, Keisha Love.
And there's her typical snap. That's what I love to see out of my girl, Keisha Love. She gives some spice, she gives some energy. She is ready, and she wants this so bad on home ice.
She needs a Disco Queen glitter ball helmet to go with those moves. In she gets, and again, in so fast, but so smoothly, 589.
That is slower than what she did in Heat 1, so I don't think she'll be too happy about that, but she knows how to drive.
Yeah, and maybe she was just making sure she got in clean and had control of the sled into 1, because 2 and 3 are so vital.
And that's what it is. When you're at the top and you're sitting in first place, you don't need to make the moment bigger than what it is. Don't try to do too much. Get in the sled, drive, and do what you know how to do.
Hold your lead, make them come get you.
And that's what she's doing here. She's still in the green, having pretty good speeds.
1100s, decent enough chicane, third best speed. Bile was fastest down the bottom and through the heart. The gap's going to come down, single digits.
Oh my gosh.
How close?
My heart is pounding.
Dead heat at the line. It's going to be really close to the 100.
Oh my gosh. Okay, wow. Dennis is happy. Scheimer's like, oh my gosh. Keisha Love's coming down day 1, sitting in first place. Caddy Bile just 200s behind her. Laura Nolte 2500s. What a race we are going to have, and look at that home crowd.
All right, because we timed to the 100th, it's not a dead heat. In the real world, it's a dead heat.
It is.
There's nothing in it. 200s, that's not come get me. Now she has to turn on the taps in Heat 3. But look at the smile on her face. Did she expect to lead after day 1? I doubt it.
I'm gonna argue with you a little bit here. I will say Keisha Love knows how to win, and she knows how to drive this track. She's been consistent in mono. She's been USA 1 in mono, has a support behind her, and has been driving really well in training.
First to congratulate her teammate Alana Myers-Taylor. She knows what it takes. Alana remains in 4th, but the woman with whom she was tied moves up to just 200s behind Keisha Love. What a race we have already got for tomorrow. And that's just the top 2 before we get into all the other insanely tight battles for the medals. 400s covers the 3 for bronze, and they're not the only 3 who are in it.
And let me tell you, when you look at this, it is going to be exciting. I can hardly find out how I'm going to sleep tonight because I am ready for this to happen.
All right, well, we're off to Catty Biles to have schnitzel, because that's clearly the golden ticket. Keisha Love, Catty Bile, and then 300s covering, or 400s covering 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Bujanowski not out of it. Bukvit's not out of it. Brianna Walker, Kaylee Humphreys, they got a battle with Margot Bock, with Andrea Greco, and then a little further back, Kalicki and Lottholtz 200s apart. A 10th between Adele and Kim. Yeah, it's going to be insane. And 1 sled won't make it through into the final heat. And 300 separating Adana Johnson and Yesi Campiol on their debut. It will likely be one of them, but somebody else might make a snafu, and suddenly all bets are off. All right, well, that's Monobob, boys and girls. That's how close it gets. That's how edge of the seat it is. Join us tomorrow for all the action. Riley and I will be back for that tomorrow afternoon. But we have more racing to do tonight.
Yes.
Time to get a bit of dinner. In 2 hours and 10 minutes, we will have our mixed team skeleton, 1900 local, midnight GMT. We'll see you then.
Great job, ladies.
So, hey. Yep. Laura Nolte, 3rd place after 2 runs. Are you happy with that?
Ja, ich bin sehr zufrieden. Meine Läufe waren eigentlich beide sehr konstant. Im ersten bin ich ein bisschen verärgert, dass ich so kurz gelaufen bin. Ich bin 2 Zyklen zu kurz gelaufen, dadurch die langsame Startzeit. Da hätte ich sonst auch schon mal ein bisschen weiter vorne landen können. Das war im zweiten deutlich besser. Die Fahrt war auch gut, aber Kati scheint auch